I want to ask you about that. The thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it resonated for a long time in the jazz community. The greater world maybe didn't know about all of that, but it resonated for. Talk about how that event just resonated in the jazz community with all of you people for so many years. It was plainly something that she moved away from in her life, an event.
Yeah.
It moved her away from the music. It moved her away from the whole city. How did it resonate?
Well, when I got a call from New York, I was in San Francisco, and I had flown to San Francisco to do some work with Herbie and a band known as the Mwandishi Band, or the Sextet. And so I got a call from a friend who told me what had happened, and that was maybe the toughest time. I was just confused, and the whole thing just kind of threw me off. So I don't know what was going on in New York, but I know there was a lot of anger, like Larry Ridley mentioned. Everybody was very sad because he's one of our heroes. He was a genius, and he just did all these great things. And so, there was no way I could go back for the funeral. So went through a very deep mourning period, just missing him, because I had started working with Herbie, and whenever I would go back to New York, he was one of the first people I would call. Even though I was working with Herbie, he was my main man. I would call him when I got back to New York and say, hey, what do you want to do? He said, come over, have dinner, let's go out and hang out. And we go to 3 or 4 different clubs in one night just to hear some music, cheer our friends on. But the last conversation that we had, I think, was the one that really enabled me to realize that he was making a great spiritual shift. Something deep inside his life was really transforming. And he called me, and he says, "Man, I met somebody, and I stayed out all night." I mentioned that in the film. But in addition to that, during the time that we worked together, he was on the methadone to the maintenance, they call it a maintenance program. And he said, I've given up one habit for another one. So I've decided that I'm going to wean myself off of the methadone, and that's what I'm doing. He was just shifting. Our conversation wasn't really a conversation. It was like he was telling me what he was doing to just change his whole approach to the way he lived. So he says, I'm weaning myself off the methadone. I feel very bad because I'm basically going through withdrawal. I've pretty much stopped smoking, and that was a big one. You saw him with a cigarette in his hand all the time.
Jazz, man.
Cigarettes
and jazz. That's just what.
But that's a stereotype. That's all a bunch of bullshit.
They're all stereotypes.